Here's a fun fact. Did you know that there's over 180 Spanish-speaking congregations of the Church of Jesus Christ in the Salt Lake Valley? But all of these trace their roots back to one, the Salt Lake Mexican branch established in 1923. The branch was created primarily to serve Mexican-American members of the church who wanted to worship in their native tongue. It eventually grew to become known as the Lucero Ward, most of its members from Mexico and other Latin American countries. Its architecture paid homage to the culture and roots of the congregants, and to this day it remains one of the only Spanish colonial-style buildings in Salt Lake City.
Spanish-speaking members of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints have been living in Salt Lake City really since the 1850s, but in very, very small numbers. And in the 1920s, those numbers started increasing.
Despite the increase, for 5 decades, the branch didn't have a home. Its members borrowed buildings and spaces to meet, and often worshipped in languages they didn't understand.
In 1949, they finally got permission to build their own building.
David Torres' family played a significant role in building the ward. His grandparents participated in the groundbreaking, while his father, who the family says was one of the first Hispanic engineering graduates from the University of Utah, drew the original renderings for the building.
The remarkable thing about this story is that our people who were struggling financially, yet they had enough faith and conviction and sacrifice to come up with the funds to build this building.
The meetings were all Spanish. The hymns were in Spanish. The prayers were in Spanish. The lessons that were taught were in Spanish.
But the Lucero Ward was more than just a place to worship. For the Torreses and many Hispanic members of the church around the Salt Lake Valley, it was a known community gathering space. There were classes, folklorico dances, sports, and other programs. It was also an event space.
We had our wedding reception there. Don't we look exactly the same? It really helped the West Side community.
The Lucero Ward also made itself known to the wider community.
This was a float that was in the Days of 47 parade.
But eventually, the Lucero Ward was sold in the 80s. Leaders of the ward cited that the building and the land it was on had become too small for its group.
Very sad time for us to leave the building. It's like leaving your homeland.
Today, while the building is occupied by a daycare center, it still holds significance for generations of Latino members of the church.
Our grandchildren, we took them there because we understand that in order to make progress for your future, you have to understand your past. And we wanted them to know their past, know that they have deep roots in this state.